is perfectly normal. Here's why. What am I on now? 34. 34. Having body fat, as I say, is perfectly normal because of the fact that your weight and fluctuation, like your weight is always going to be like this. It's never going to be one big straight line. Like if something was to go in one big straight line, high like your chances that something is wrong with your menstrual cycle or anything like that. So what I would say is that there's always going to be peaks and troughs when it comes to your weight and stuff. And also, don't forget, as a woman, you'll find over hundreds of thousands of evolution stuff. You know, you think about you sometimes got to carry a baby, but what the problem is that you're comparing yourself to society and to this next part one we'll talk about. But as I say, having body fat for a woman is absolutely perfectly normal. I know most of you can probably say, but Zach, you know, you can't understand that. No, I can't understand that. But we've got to remember is that what we've got into now is a fact of society where society is putting pressure on us to lose weight and look in a certain way. And I'm going to talk about this more in a second. This is where one of the biggest shows on TV I refuse to watch, or have started to refuse to watch. Love Island. Now, as I say, you'll stop comparing and be the best version of you. It's why I talk about the skinny culture. I'm not bad jibbing all the people in Love Island. I'm not saying Love Island, in my point of view, is an absolute rubbish show, but that's just my opinion out of it. And I refuse to watch it because, you know, all it is just people prancing around and not hurting other people's feelings, but people getting into like relationships on TV just to get a few million followers on Instagram and get a bloody blue tick. I'm not about that life. If they were going to offer me £100,000, I would not go on it. Absolutely not. That's what I say about, you know, shows like Love Island, Geordie Shore, things like that, where he walks around in a bikini. You sometimes might compare yourself to other people in that sense. Don't forget, they've probably got more time in the world, more effort. They've probably more time to exercise in that lot. They don't live in the real world, people who Love Island. They live in their own little fancy, which is like fairy dust land out of it. So that's what I say, is that society expects us to be in a certain shape or physiologically, can never get that word right, to fit in or stand out. This has to stop. Women on stage, like I said earlier, and that is not what a female physiology is about. You know, women having abs now, like, yeah, I know having abs is a real great way, but it's not the be all end all. Like, you know, I know you've joined this program to feel great in 8 weeks, but feeling great in 8 weeks might not just be the aesthetic side of things. It's also about, you know, the performance side of things, which I'll kind of go through in a second. As I said earlier, the average woman requires about 50,000 calories to survive pregnancy, and that's when you eat too little, you can actually hinder your ability to get pregnant, especially if if you're young in that lot. You probably can't see me there, but that's just me from my photo shoot days in that lot. And what I learned is that having a six-pack is not fitness. Yes, it's great to have them, but you don't need them to be seen as healthy or fit. What I learned from having a six-pack was actually when in the latter months after I never talked about this before, but in the latter months after my photo shoot, I actually went through quite a shitty time with a girl and that lot as well. Some of you will know this, some of you won't know this, but there was this girl I was seeing for a little wee while after my photo shoot and stuff like that. And long story short, she completely screwed me over with another geezer. And again, I won't go into too much detail about that. And I'd always try and get myself back into that shape, thinking that's what made me happy. But actually, doing me comparison to myself back then is not feasible. You know, I sacrificed a lot within those 8 weeks to get in a six-pack shape. And, you know, yeah, great. It was great for that short term, but it's not great for the long term. And as I say, it's important to look out for the long term of yourself, more importantly. Now, let's have a brief talk on menopause. How are we getting on for time? Bloody hell, we're doing really well here. Now, let's talk a brief talk about menopause. Now, if you don't know what menopause is, it's basically in a state in a woman's life where menstruation ceases or discontinues completely. And this will happen eventually. Some of you may have happened to you already, some of you might not have happened already. But the average age of a woman who have menopause is around about 50 or 51, but in some certain cases it can be younger. Like I've known some cases that it can be 40, it can even be as young as 30 and stuff. Symptoms of your reproductive system discontinuing, which is essentially what menopause is, are usually hot flushes, mood swings, trouble sleeping, and changes in fat distribution to the midsection. You need a discontinuation of menstruating for 12 months to be in a state of menopause, and this occurs due to lack of estrogen. So if you go back to what we said about the menstrual cycle, estrogen was at its highest at the follicular phase. So for those who have probably moaned about estrogen in the past, well, unfortunately, you're going to wish you're going to have it back at this point at some point in the future. Now, there are 3 stages of menopause: perimenopause, postmenopause, and then postmenopause for this one. Make sure I've covered all my notes. Now, the 3 stages of menopause. Perimenopause refers to the 8 to 10 years before the menopause, when your ovaries slowly produce less estrogen or estrogen. So some reason it's spelled differently there. Menopause refers to the time when your menstrual periods have stopped for at least a year. And postmenopause is the stage of your life after you've not had a period for 12 months or longer. But the risks include osteoporosis, which is basically means your bones thinning in. That's why doing resistance training like weights and stuff like that is very, very important, because it decreases the chance of osteoporosis. Cardiovascular disease and depression and other mental health conditions. That's why I say, when you're going through into your menopause part, again, unfortunately, there's no magic pill to lose weight with this one. I think it's just important to reassess your goals as you get into that menopause stage, where it's to say, right, rather than focusing on the scales and stuff like that, just praise your efforts and your rewards, because that is the most important thing, is to know that you've given all your best shot to do the best you can with that. And also focus on what I call on getting stronger and getting fitter, because that is what it should be about as we get older, or even now. So the future of fitness, and it's already here. We're coming to the final part here, so if you have been watching this, thank you very much for your time. I know I've waffled on quite a lot, and I've actually quite enjoyed it, to be fair. Quite enjoyed just talking and waffling for just under an hour, so, which is actually shorter when I was longer than anticipating, so I do apologise. So the future of fitness, and it's already here. Come on. Strong is the new skinny. Now, you probably can't see here, but this is one of my former clients, who I won't disclose her name out of it, but she's a prime example of why I say strong is the new skinny. She would always worry about her body composition and stuff like that as well, and she'd have like eat disorders in the past and stuff like that. But once I got in the gym and got on lifting big heavy weights, rather than just focus on the body composition, I was saying, right, let's see if we can hip thrust that 110 kg. She'd get it on, she'd thrust it up, and that's what it's all about. Not worrying about, as I say, yes, it has its perks being skinny, but I think now, being strong, so walking into a gym, not necessarily seeing what clothes feel loose and being the most skinniest and that lot, it's actually going up to that squat rack, getting a bar on your back and actually squatting the heaviest you can. That for me is the future of fitness, and that is now, and that is happening right now. And I believe that's what's happening. It's not only the same thing with squats or hip thrusts or deadlifts, same with pull-ups. When you get to manage that first pull-up, you've increased your weight on your lat pull-downs. You've actually increased your reps and your push-ups. You've actually managed your first full press-ups. You've actually managed to do a 5k run in a certain time. There's so many different variables you can talk about. Being strong is the new skinny. And for me, that's what it's all about. Being strong is the new skinny here. So being strong out of it. And I guess, like I say, it can be anything from like your pull-ups or stuff like that also. There's another new movement that I believe a lot of you might be doing already, and that's the hip thrust and glute movement. So as before, I think in the past, a lot of women would be too scared to train their glutes and stuff like that, because it might feel that trousers might feel too big. But actually now, I'm seeing a trend where most women now are actually going to a hip thrust, they're picking the bar up and actually looking to grow their glutes. And I think this is such a big, powerful movement. But for me, I'd like to call myself the unofficial glute guy, because I'm a big advocate in posterior training, whether it's my pull-ups, my hip thrusts, my deadlifts, anything like that. I'm a big advocate on that. And I think that is the most important side of training. And as I say, the lovely Soho Lee here, if you don't know who that is, she does a few fantastic videos on how to do hip thrust. If you haven't done a hip thrust before, check out my Instagram. There's a few videos if you scroll down about how to do hip thrust and stuff. But honestly, I think there's women now that are looking for more strive of building muscle rather than being skinny and stuff. And again, I know the whole point of this for a lot of you is to lose a little bit of weight, but actually it's also to get stronger and get fitter out of it. As I say, there's a big movement now to know that it's all about getting stronger and build a little bit of muscle, get a bit leaner or toning, if you want to call it. Closing statement. Well, hey, we're at the end. We're at the end. So I've waffled on for about an hour. I was expecting to do it done in half an hour, but that went well, didn't it? But closing statement. When it comes into mum times, I've done a video about this the other day out of it, or a few weeks ago, which I got a lot of good feedback from, which I really do appreciate. But for a lot of mums out there who still have the mum time, it's absolutely perfectly normal. When you've had like a mum time, don't forget, sometimes some of you might have had a C-section, some of you might have had to give birth. You might have a slight bit of overhang. Again, the only way to do that is just to do some pelvic floor exercises, be in a calf deficit, and do some resistance training. But what's the closing statement out of it is this presentation was to hopefully give you empowerment, hopefully to give you something to come by out of it, and hopefully to make you feel better, because that is the thing that I've been wanting to do. Yep, making sure this works. For some reason it looked like I'd gone black. That's what I want to kind of give you out of it, is give you education, give you empowerment, give you an idea that if you are sometimes plateauing your weight, it's not because it's your fault or nothing like that. It's actually to do because there's so many physiological standpoints that are different to everybody else. Yes, not every woman might have the same issues and stuff like that, and that's what I say about be your own best scientist. But I always will say is that strive to be the best version of yourself rather than be the best version of someone else, and be somebody else out of it. And the most important thing to come out of this is just to be happy and just focus on progression in other areas. Then that is just the scales or your body composition out of that. And most importantly, well, the other most important thing also is always reward your efforts and praise your rewards. And no, I don't know, I've lost it now. Praise your efforts and congratulate your rewards. Anything like that. You kind of get the gist. And that is me done. That is me done. Holding the European Cup from 2018 out of it, whenever it was out of it. So, but thank you. Thank you for watching. Like I said, this is essentially my first proper presentation. You've had the pleasure of being the first couple of people being part of this presentation of mine. As I say, I thank you for watching it. I really do thank you for watching it. If you found this of any use at all, just screenshot me on your camera or anything like that and post it on your Instagram stories. That'd be greatly appreciated. And just say female fat loss workshop with Zach King or educate myself. That'd be greatly appreciated. As I said, like I put a lot of time and effort into this. I know it doesn't really matter that much, but I made sure that I've done all my research, all my know-how, all my notes out of it to make sure I gave the best presentation possible and to give you ladies the best knowledge possible. Because for me, this workshop right here is the pinnacle of what this Feel Great in 8's about. It's about giving you the education, giving you the know-how, but more importantly, giving you the guidance and support that needs you over these 8 weeks, and hopefully even longer, to know that it's absolutely normal to have X, Y, and Z, and actually there's more than one way to progress other than just the scales and stuff like that. But as I say again, thank you for your time, thank you for joining in, watching, and I'll hopefully catch up with some of you over the weekend. Like I said, if you have any other questions, anything like that, please let me know, and if I can answer them, I'll answer them directly. If I struggle with them, back out.